Ladies and gentlemen, the staff of Equine Affaire once again welcomes you to the 28th annual Equine Affaire Expo here in Columbus. I'd like to thank U.S. Equestrian for graciously sponsoring the Coliseum. At this time, we'll kindly ask you to silence your mobile devices for the duration of our upcoming clinic. And joining us, we welcome into the Coliseum, Guy McLean, presenting Preparing for the Unknown on the ground to a successful first ride. Guy McLean is a self-taught Australian-born horse trainer and teacher who possesses an uncanny ability to entertain an audience with his magnetic personality, authentic bush poetry, quick wit, cracking stock whips, and almost supernatural connection with his horses. Through a complete love of horses and a burning desire to find better ways of building relationships with his horses, Mr. McLean developed his own training methods to ask the horse to do the job as a partner. He has won multiple colt starting championships in Australia and America, is a two-time Australian bush poetry champion, and was recognized as an ambassador of the Outback in 2002 and 2006. While maintaining a home base in Australia, Mr. McLean now travels throughout the United States to perform and present at prominent equestrian events, including the World Equestrian Games, the National Rodeo Finals, Dressage at Devon, the Washington International, and major equine expos and fairs just like the Equine Affaire. He's also produced an educational DVD series to share his training approaches and philosophies with riders of all disciplines. Once again, give it up for Guy McLean.
Thank you very much, sir. Wonderful to be here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you to John and the team for putting up the round pen. We appreciate you. So normally, ladies and gentlemen, I start them at home in Australia or even on the Prefect Ranch in Mount Pleasant, Texas. I start them, I might give them the first couple of handles in a round pen like this, and then I ride them out in the open quite a lot. Normally, at a deal like this, I would do all the work myself, and then I'd hop on the young horse and ride him in this big open arena. But I've got a wonderful young friend of mine that I've known since he was a little 2 and 3-year-old, with his parents used to bring me horses to train. And he's a wonderful young Australian rider. He rides in English hack classes in Australia. His dad was a fine cattleman, and he's going to want to do stock horse events and that as he goes on. And he asked me on his gap year if he could come and travel with us, and I said, absolutely. I said, what do you want to do when you get older? He said, I'd love to rehab thoroughbreds and take them on the show circuit and find them new homes, and I'd like to be able to educate my own horses. He'd never started a horse himself before, and he's helped me start several horses. He gave a young horse his first 4 rides of his life in Canada last week, and he even had his name chanted in front of all those people. They were so impressed with him. Now, I want you to know before we start that as an Australian, especially a young Australian like Lockie, he's only 18-year-old, there's a banter that we have where we pick on each other a little bit, and we sound like we're giving them a hard time, but I want you to know that there's no one in the world other than your parents that want more success for you than me, right? Now, everything that I'm doing with you, and I've told him this, everything I'm doing is to set you up for a good future for whatever that is, because one day you're going to be the head of a huge company, you're going to have a lot of money that you want to throw at an old horseman, and I'll be here ready to catch it. But I'm preparing you for great things. Now, I did say to him this morning, we asked for the round pen, which Kogi was kind enough to say she wanted us to have it up for the safety of the horse. And then they said, oh, we need the round pen for another demonstration. I said, I'll go and tell Lockie that. And I said, Lockie, so they need the round pen for something else, mate. Are you happy to ride that young Mustang in front of 2,000 people in the middle of the open arena? And Lockie passed out. And I had to go and give him, I didn't give him mouth to mouth, but I had to give him CPR. And then we got him, woke up, and he's here. So I'm not going to put you in the middle of all these people without the round pen. And the great thing about this round pen is Lockie's actually ridden young horses in a round pen very much like this. This round pen is made by Prefect Radio and Ranch Equipment in Texas. We're so blessed to live on their ranch, and when I started in a round pen, we started in one very much like this. So I'm just going to work with this little boy. I've already had a little play with him yesterday. He came in. He's a rising 3-year-old Mustang, and in my opinion, one of the nicest type of Mustangs that I've ever seen. And I haven't had that much to do with a lot of them. I've started about 3 or 4 under saddle. And what we know with Mustangs, the horse that I'm on is a grandson of Highbrow Cat. He's a cutting-bred horse, bred to work a cow. This little fella here was born and bred to do one thing and one thing alone, and that's to stay alive. That's all Mustangs are bred for, is to live out every day and be safe. And when I took him in the warm-up arena, he was looking around going, I'm just trying to stay alive. There's lots of funny looking things here. Lots of predators walking around on 2 feet looking at me like they'd like to eat me. And what I'm really thrilled with is how he's coming today. And I've been told, and I actually saw it in the Mustangs that I've worked, but I've been told that there's no horse in the world that gives to you and tries to connect to you more than a Mustang. And so I'm really excited to be able to prove that right over these 3 days. The bag and stick is the first time that I've used it with him. He's had a little bit of ground handle with the people that took him from the wild. I think he was in the wild as a young horse, and then was brought in. I think he's been in human hands for the last, I think, about a year. I'm not positive about that. So the bag and stick, to me, it's not about desensitizing him. It's just about him starting to believe in himself while other things are going on. And the horse that I'm riding, he's such a great help for this. He really is. He's a horse that won the World Championship of Colt starting in 2013. He was my riding horse at another attempt 2 weeks ago, and he's a great boy. So these things are made, I promise you, you're not going to die. But just believe in me and it's going to be okay. And I'm going to make the same promise to Lockie. Maybe I shouldn't promise, because I don't make promises, don't keep. I'm hoping you won't die. So remember, that's the banter. I'm not picking on him, that's the banter. And I want you to know with young Lockie that if I treat him like a full-grown man, like a 40-year-old, and I talk business, and I talk everything serious, Lockie just goes to sleep in the back of the car. But if I give him a cheek and I give me the big stick, if I give him cheek and I give him a little bit of a punch in the ribs every now and then, I want the tartan stick, he wakes up, because that's how we talk to young people these days. And if I really want to get his attention, I just call him on the phone, because he lives on that thing. Oh my God, if he has trouble today, I'm going to stop telling him what to do, and I'm just going to get him on the phone and get him to watch one of my videos online, because he loves the phone. So I'm proud of you, Lockie, not having it today. So here I'm going to move this little fellow around. And the biggest thing that we need to do, and it probably wasn't that obvious in the demonstration, this young horse has never been ridden. He's never had a bridle, he's never had a saddle, and he's never had a rider. So we're prepping for all of that. But I want you to know that I would be doing the same if you brought me in a horse that had had 10 years of riding. I would still go through these things, because this horse doesn't know me, I don't know him, and I'm learning things about him in this situation. Now Mustangs, as I say, all they want to do is stay alive. Some Mustangs have a lot of kick in them. This little fella does not, and that's might be a little bit of him, and it's definitely a little bit of the training, good training that he's had since he's been brought out of that situation. That there is once again made, it didn't kill you. What I love about these panels, if he bumps them, they're going to move. They're not going to just stay in the ground and allow him to hurt himself. They're going to move out of the way. They're actually, this is a horse panel that Prefect designs, and if they really kicked out of it, the panel would bend around their leg and they wouldn't hurt themselves as much as if it was solid. Very good. So Lockie, from what I'm seeing here, mate, I have absolutely no fears or trepidations about putting you on. I've never been hurt in this situation, so I'm excited for you to come in. A few of my riders are still in hospital, but I've never been hurt. Can you come on? Lockie goes, I think that's really funny when you say it, but no one laughs. And I go, well, that's because they don't get our sense of humour, mate, but that's okay, we can work on that. So Lockie did a little bit of this yesterday for me, and I'm going to get him to do a bit more today. He's been handled, he's had his feet trimmed, he's been brushed a lot. He's a lovely little fella. Just be aware he's not looking at you. Get out. Remember? Come here. I have to Lockie's the sort of kid right now as an 18-year-old. If I told Lockie to jump off a cliff, he'd say, which way do you want me to go? Like he would just do it. When you walked in there, he was looking off away from you, and it was only me that was keeping you safe. So I want you to be aware. When you come in, he has to look at you. So you come in to that angle there. And if you don't feel right, don't go in. It's something I'm trying to build into Lockie, is if he has a gut feeling that says it's not right, don't do it. I've seen a lot of people wake up in hospital going, I knew that was wrong to get on that horse in the dark while it was lightning, but I thought, nah, I'll just do it. So if you don't feel it's right, don't get on. So I want you to step up to his wither, and I want you to put your chest against his wither. and I want you to walk with him as he comes with me. Now, if he goes to jam you up against this horse, make sure you don't squeal out or cry, because we're professionals and we don't do that. So just walk along there nice with him. Now I want you to see if you can hang on him, and he did this yesterday, but he's not done this bit. Lift your feet. So this is the first time he's had to carry weight. We haven't fed Lockie this morning, so he's not very heavy. And good boy. So see if you can hold on there and bring him. Good. So this little horse is learning to carry weight here. I feel totally safe. Lockie's not really safe, but I'm really safe, and this is good so far. Lockie's little face is going red, but he's smiling, so that's good. It's either a smile or a grimace, but in photos it'll look like a smile. Come on, Lockie, it's not hard. Just hold on there. Good boy. So now I want you to jump up and put your chest over the top of his back. Now if he goes to do anything, I need you to get down off this side, because he can jump towards me or away. And we're doing everything quite matter of fact. I'm not rubbing and loving on the pony, because this is just life. Humans do silly things, mate, and you're going to have to get used to them. Hop down and do that again. Jump up. I want you to take your right foot and put it over the black line. I really appreciate this horse has got a black line down the middle of his back, and I wanted to have a horse like that so I could tell Lockie to put his right leg over the right-hand side of the black line, his left leg over the other one, because otherwise he'd get on backwards. That was a joke, you've never got on backwards. Okay, so I want you to sit up, and I want you to be prepared to jump off to the right. No, not too much, get off. So when you got on there, you sat right in the middle of him. And if you tried to come off here, you actually got to be thrown there. So when you get on them the first time, you nearly want to be a little bit like that, okay? So that if he goes to move, you can hop down. So the young horse doesn't know that he's supposed to carry a rider today. He just knows that he's got to stay alive. Your left hand needs to be on the left-hand side of his neck. Now get down and do that again. Lockie's got a young body. He's only 18-year-old, so we'll wear it out a little bit here. But when your body's young, get down. This hand has to be on this side of the neck, because otherwise he can jump and drop you off. Good. And these are the things that I did when my body worked like this. That's better. Good. Now can sit up a little bit. Lockie's got a little bit of a habit of bouncing around a little bit here, which gets the horse quiet, but also gets things started. It's very nice. You're getting more flexible, Lock. So sit up in there now. Good boy. Take a good hold of the mane. And grimace or smile or whatever you want to do, but push down on that mane. And if he goes to get jumping, I'm just going to try and keep him with me. All right, I feel safe. You good? Okay. So just go down. Don't play around. Just push down on that. Now what we do is we push down on that mane so we don't pull up against it. Because if we pull up against it and the mane lets go, or our hand lets go, then we find out what the dirt at Equine Affaire tastes like. So I just want to invite him here. And so this year I will do a lot on the ground and ride them myself. But being able to do this, I'm going to do this when I'm 90 with Lockie's children. And he's going to send them to me, and I'm going to use them to train my horses before I ride them. Right now I don't need to, but I'm just prepping. Lockie's going to have to find a wife that will allow me to do that, but that's okay. You might find one over here, Lockie. Every time I do a demonstration with Lockie, he gets a few more likes on TikTok. So that's very nice. But now I'm going to put a little bit of distance between you, because people love danger, but this doesn't look dangerous yet. So that's nice. Now what I want you to do is I want you to know, because he's learning to carry weight here, but he hasn't actually really known you're up there. So take your right hand and just tap yourself a little bit on the right leg. That was your left hand, Lockie. Good boy. Right hand, good. A little more. Touch your hat. Touch your leg. Touch your hat. Touch your leg. Now do it as though you're excited about this. I want you to tap your leg. Do it like the... yeah, that's better. Good. And stop. As soon as he gets lit up, you need to slow down. Don't make a fool of me in front of all these people, Lockie. Okay, so do it again. Good. And then build up a little slap on that leg. We need this young horse to know that Lockie's up there. Now I want you to swap hands and do the same. Lockie's pushing down on that neck to hold himself to that horse. Good. Try and pretend you're not scared. That's better. Very good. Okay, you ready to go out of the circle? Excellent. Okay, so what I'm going to do, Lockie, I feel fine, it's all good. Push down. So I'm going to go and put him out here a little bit and set him away from me. And if he goes to do anything, I'm going to bend him towards me. If he looks off like that, this is something he did a lot yesterday. He just wants to look off and say something going to kill me. And I say, no, Lockie is a vegetarian. He's not really, but that was fun. So I'm going to move him around there a little bit now. So Lockie, use your hand on your leg now for me a little bit. Good boy. And the young horse has been lovely. Yesterday, I'm going to bring you back with me. Yesterday he was a little bit jumpy, wanted to jump away. He'd trot and sort of do a little leap in the air, and I told Lockie not to look because I knew I was going to put him on here today. And when they're young like this, they're going to make little mistakes and they're going to do little things, and so are the horses. You ready? Well, they're about the same age. This horse is a rising 3-year-old. He's very much like Lockie, about 18-year-old. So I'm going to ask him out and away. And Locke's going to really work on keeping the bottom of his leg quiet, because sometimes he likes to squeeze with the bottom of that leg and get himself in a little bit of trouble. Alright, so I want you to look up through his ears and look at the ground that he's looking at. Don't look at the ground that you might land on. That's better. Good. So I'm going to see if we can get a little candle, Lockie. I feel good about it. So I'm going to try for me, little man. Lockie, I dropped the rope. Is that okay? Now, by doing this, you might think I'm picking on him, but this keeps Lockie thinking and he keeps him awake. If I was to be all serious about it, Lockie would be going, oh, there's somewhere else I'd rather be. But this is how it is with his friends, of course, on the phone and not in real life. And this young horse is learning to carry a rider, and Lockie's learning to be in front of all these people, which is really nice. TikTok's going to go up a lot. If I was you, I'd push down with your right hand. Use your right hand on that, mate. Good. And I've got to watch Lockie's body positioning because he does get a little bit out of the middle of it. That's beautiful, lad. Beautiful. When I first put Lockie on the horse bareback over here, he said, it's apparent that I don't have any Native American in me because I can't sit up on the bareback. But Lockie, you're riding a horse that looks just like Spirit, and you are sitting up really nice now. And this young horse doesn't have to think about anything but going forward and carrying weight. Lockie's got lots to think about. Very good, young man. Nice. And his riding's getting better. He walks funny for a little while after these sessions, but he gets better every day. Very good. Lockie, they don't like you. They're trying to get you back off. Goodness me. Well done, young man. I'm really proud of you. So now I want you to slip off to the inside. And you can take beautiful mate out for me, and I'll keep preparing him. Well done to you, young man. Well done to you, young Pete. Very good. So Locke's just going to... Okay. Good. Thank you. So I'm going to work with this little boy. Now you notice that I loved on that gelding there, and I told him how great he was, and I haven't done that with the young Mustang just yet. And that's because the Mustang doesn't understand that when we love on him and ask him to lower his head and do things, that it's actually a respectful thing. We don't want to do that too early with young horses. Lockie, just take him out away from a little bit and lower his head down into the position that I put him in when I want to tell him he's a good boy. So I get Lockie to do this, and if you think that I don't like Lockie or that I'm not respectful to him, I don't let anyone handle my horses. So the fact that I let this young man take care of my horses and hold them is huge. So that there for mate, he's been taught to go in that position as a sign of love from us humans. If I put a little heat there, he'll go, I think you want to eat me. If my head's down, I can't run away. So I'm not going to ask him for that yet. I'm going to be respectful of who he is and his understanding of the world. And then maybe by day 3 we might be doing that, but it doesn't have to happen here straight away. This horse does not need to be my friend here today, he needs to be my student. When he's my student and he has understanding of the things that I do, then he can become my friend. And then when we work longer, he'll eventually one day become someone's family, and that's what mate is, his family. So I do that just as you know, mate, there's another time you thought you were going to die, but you didn't. You're still here. And a lot of times, as Lockie will tell you, every time he starts a young horse, he probably has moments where he thinks he's in danger. And I just keep telling him, if you do these things and you breathe, breathing's very important. It's very hard to live without breathing. If you breathe through it, it'll be okay. And the main reason I want to do these things is so that this young horse knows that no matter what we do with him, that he can be okay from it. Taking his eyes away is a huge thing for this young horse. I just unclipped his lead, which now he's at liberty, which is really great. So I'm going to take, there I can walk up and try and catch him. I'm going to show you another skill that I use on a daily basis. A lot of people think that using a rope can be a bad thing. Intention is everything. If I use this rope properly, it's got the same feel and timing as my hand from a further distance away. Now I can walk up and catch it, but this is a skill that I work on nearly every day with young horses. So now if he tries to move away, I can just go to him and I can put my hand on him, with a lot more confidence. It's something I didn't explain, but you watch here, he's very close to me. And now he's about 3 feet away from me. So what I'm doing is I'm letting him take that rope with my hand. When he allows me to hold him, I hold the rope. But if he really moves, I let him take that rope, much like a big fish on the end of a line. So I act like this rope is a fishing line that might break under load. And I just want you to believe in me, but more importantly, my friend, I want you to believe in yourself. I want you to take a little leap of faith here and just see what happens. And every time we do these things, it just builds that little bit more confidence. And it's about building confidence in us, but more importantly, it's about building confidence in him. I want him to know that there's things that he can do that he never thought he could do. And then what that does is it opens up a pathway of learning where he goes, if I can handle that thing over my head, which I never thought was possible, if I can handle a rider on my back, which I never thought was possible, I can attempt and handle just about anything. Now he does get a little pushy, but what I do, if he comes to push on me, is I don't push back, I hold, and I'll actually step out of his way. And you might say, well, Guy, that's letting him win. He doesn't know what winning and losing looks like. He just knows what we finish at. That's huge, Heath. That's really huge, brother. Good for you. Well done. And I want you to know that you're clapping and that's something that we cannot reproduce at home. So whenever I can, I try and do this with my own horses. I try and start all my babies under saddle in front of a crowd because you can't simulate this at home. So thank you for your help in educating this baby, because it's Kathy who owns this beautiful boy. It's her goal to continue to talk about the Mustangs and show about how wonderful they are. So she's going to want this boy to be in front of people and to be an ambassador. Well, how cool is that he gets to do that and learn how to be an ambassador here in front of everybody. What I have here is something that I've designed myself. It's got a blue clip on it, much the same colour as my shirt. And it was made by my dear friends at Preeford who made this round pen. And it's just, we've got 2 clips on a leather slip, and then it has a lock on it that can go up and tight. I can have it on a large horse, like a Clydesdale or a Percheron, and then I can draw it right down to a little horse. And if they pull back with this tied up, it's designed that lock will release and the rein will pull loose. But I do this with the holder, so this is to work always with the holder. What I'm doing here, this little boy likes to nip a little bit, I should say. So I've got my thumb and my forefinger high up in his gums. I'm just waiting for him to work his mouth and allow me to be in there, because he's not going to want the bed, so I do that. And it's also going to help him with that nipping. He's starting to say, I don't want you in my mouth. Yesterday when I had my hand anywhere near his mouth, he says, that looks like a carrot, I'd like to have a taste of that. So what I have now too, is when we first bridle young horses, you see he went to nip at me there. I just say, my dear boy, do you really want me in there? And he goes, well, no, you didn't wash your hands. So I'm just going to press there until it draws underneath, and that releases so many parts of the body. Body movement will tell you how valuable that is. And because I've done that, now I can get him to accept his first snaffle, and I can click that on, and I don't have to be worrying about pulling the bridle on over his ears. That's something that's very important in the coming days. It's not important on day one. Right now, dressing him is a little bit like dressing a toddler. You don't try and make it perfect, you just get their clothes on and then let them go play. So that's all set up pretty nice now. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my lead and I'm going to click it off to my halter within the bit. So this will be the very first time he's felt bit pressure, but he's going to feel about 80% of halter pressure, I should say, and only 20% on the bit, because when we groundwork with the bit normally, it'll turn around in the horse's mouth, it'll turn around in his head and sort of slip around. But you'll notice, because I'm connected to the halter, that he's feeling bit pressure, but I'm connected to the halter, so I could tie off to the wall if I needed to, and it wouldn't be off the bridle that he's feeling it. But he does feel a little bit of connection to that bridle. I'm just saying, my dear boy, can you follow the feel of my hand? And can you allow me to stay busy? Though I work the bag and stick, it's my feet that are creating movement. When I stop, I want him to think about stopping. So for this little bit here, I'm going to unclick my lead. And right now, as I say, I'm just connected to the halter through that bit. So I go through the bit hole, it's just a little snaffle. And I click off to that there. I used to use a peewee bit, and we still have them, But I had to come up with this for the championship for colt starting because they didn't like you to use anything but a snaffle, and I understand that, so I came up with this so that I can do both. And the great thing about this also is if you want to go from a snaffle bit to riding in a halter, this is a good way to back off as well. Something I can do also because I'm connected to the halter here, even though I'm connected to that offside bit, through that offside I should say, not connected to the bit, I can still work in from there. And this starts to teach more of a neck rein kind of deal, where here I'm direct rein, as we come around here, now it's more pushing on the outside, a little bit like what it's going to do on rein off of his neck there. So I just keep rolling on. Throughout my career I've had a lot of people say, Guy, you don't stop, you just keep going, there's not a lot of resting. He's resting now. He's even resting when he's out on the circle. But if I let him rest too long, he's going to look up and see where he is. So this here, working in this pressure environment, is a little bit like trying to have a conversation with someone at a disco or at a nightclub, you might call it, or even at a busy bar. If you're not really interesting, if you're boring, they're going to look at everything but you. But if there's someone that's really interesting, you're going to focus on them completely and you're going to be okay. What I'm going to do is put this rope around his neck. That knot's going to stop it from pulling tight. I'm going to take this rope here and throw it up and over his back. He's already had a rider on, he's already had the bag and stick. You'll notice how busy I stay through all of this. I'm not rushing, but I'm busy. Now what I'm going to do is take this rein and work it up into a girth position. And from this position here, if he wants to move, I can let him, but I can take a hold of that and I can start to put a little bit of girth pressure on there. I had a lovely young girl say to me yesterday, I'm starting my own horse. How can I get them so they never buck with the saddle? And I say, well, you can prepare them in many different ways, but the very best horses I've ever started have all had a little buck with the saddle because the saddle is constricting, something totally foreign to them. But these things can help with that. So he was able to move forward. I can take that here, I can work it back. Now I'm very aware that if I get too far back to the flank, that's a tickly spot. Some people think this teaches a horse to buck. Horses know how to buck from the day they're born. If a little tiger, a little baby cub jumped on a little baby foal, the foal would act like an NFR bronc. We're not teaching them to buck, God put that in them to keep them safe. So there are all things that we can go with. Horses that are girthy, I'll take my arm, go underneath his belly, and I'm going to lift just like the girth will. I'm so proud of you, little man, I really am. Now I want to pat on him, I want to tell him how good he is, but I don't want to give him a reason to push on me, because if I play with him too much, he starts rubbing on me like a post, and I don't want to be a post to him. So I have my surf signal here, and I'm going just to continue on with having a plan, and that's the biggest thing. I have a plan when I work these beautiful horses, and I want you to know that though I'm not patting him, though I'm not putting my hands all over him and cooing in his ear, I want you to know that straight from my heart to his, I love you and I see you. I see you for everything that you are and I see you for everything that you're going to be. But I'm working this way so that I can help you, my dear friend. The patting and the loving, that's going to come. But right now I need to teach you things that are valuable. And now is the moment to do so. So this here, with the girth, I'm going to pick up on that. Worst come to worst, if I drop this rein, I'm not dropping a $2,000 saddle, I'm dropping a whatever this costs. So I can pick up and press there. You'll notice the ropes all around his legs. That's life. We want to get him to understand that there's things can be around his legs. If he goes to be a roper, he's going to have to handle that. If he was with me, if I owned him, which I don't, he would go and side pass over horses one day. So these things are important to his future, whatever it is. That we as humans are pretty strange. We're going to do things that do not make sense, but you'll get it sorted. I've never seen an animal in my life that is incredible as a horse is on being able to change their thoughts and their priorities in such a short time. They say the dog is man's best friend, and I love dogs, I think they're amazing. But you can have a dog that is your best friend and loves you, and then someone sets off the fireworks and that dog will run away for 4 days. Whereas you can take a young horse that's never seen fireworks and have him be comfortable with it. So that there, that's just him saying, I really don't understand the feeling of it. That's okay. You notice I stopped. The way I've got this set up is I just want him to turn. Now, some trainers, and I'm not saying it's wrong, anything that works, works. But I don't want him to add energy to things that we do not want. So there we can add energy to that. But if he goes to jump, I'm just going to stop my feet and invite his hind end to go away. Now this side he's going to be able to buck a lot more because I can't move his hips out of the way as much. But we'll just see what this looks like here too. And Lockie, just look away for the next couple of minutes. Now, the reason I told Lockie not to push and grind with his feet is because when we do that, it's very much like having the girth on the first time. And that little horse was very reactive to the girth, and now he's ignoring the girth. So we never want our feet to be something they can ignore. You can look now, Lockie. And you'll notice that he said, this is really hard, this is really difficult, I'm really struggling. And then I let him breathe through it, and I let him go from reaction back to response. It's just another thing, mate. It's just another little thing that you're going to get better and better and better at. And if he didn't do that little jump, I'd be worried. God put that in them to keep them safe. I don't want them to change. I want them to evolve, and I want him to be able to say, I can handle things I never handled before. But I do believe that every horse, sometime throughout their life, is all going to buck at least once. And for Lockie's sake, I hope that was it. But once again, Lockie, I have no fears or worries. I'm quite confident that I won't get hurt. Just be aware that when you're standing there, you're standing behind his eye. So I want Lockie to be in front of that horse or off to the side. When we stand here, if the horse wants to move, they're going to move away from us. So I don't want mate to think that that's okay. Here I'm going to take the bridle. I'm going to go from my long rein. This is a 28-foot long rein. I'm going to go through the surcingle and back up to my bit, and I'm going to connect onto the bit and the halter together. So now I've gone from 20% of bit pressure to about 50% of bit pressure. So it's still not a huge thing. I've done this in the halter where I've taught him to move around and move his hips away, but I'm going to just hold that rein and wait till we see a response. Now I want you to know that what he's doing here is nature speaking. When we feel physical pressure, we must push into it, because if we give to physical pressure, the predator will take us into our cave and they'll eat us. So I'm going to move his feet and see if we can give him an understanding of that. And he's not being bad, he's just doing what nature tells him to. So I wait. You notice I'm letting that rein slip away from me here, because if I held him, he would just fight me. And I just wait and let him find his own way out. We all talk about pressure and release. And you notice I'm not releasing the pressure. I'm all about pressure and release. But the one that needs to learn to release is my pony. He needs to learn that if he releases, he can get that release anytime he wants just by giving to the bridle. If he's waiting for us to release, he can only get it when we give the rein back. So there's a nice little turn. I'm going to see if I can get it from here though, because this is much more where I'm going to be riding it. And he's not being bad. He's just doing what nature tells him to do. But let's watch him here. Like, I'm not going to put Lockie up on him again until he learns this piece, because otherwise all he's going to be is a passenger. So I'm going to come to here and hold. And whatever I need to do with this little gelding, I'm going to do. If I don't get as much done with him as I do with others, that's okay. It's not about what I've done with others in the past. It's about what Heath and I and Lockie can accomplish today. And I have to be aware that I'm not training him for me. I'm training him for Kathy. I'm training him for a future with someone else. And I need to make sure that there's no holes in there. So I'm going to wait. And I found that he was very much like this yesterday in the halter. He was very much into pressure. And then I came out today and he was a lot better. There he thought about it. He had a really good think. I'm really proud of you, Heath. Well done. He had a really good think about it. He went to push forward to it, and then he gave to it. And there's a pull to there, and now that's a hold. So he's feeling the pressure on his face. And he goes, I want that pressure to go away, so he finds it himself. Well done, young man. And it's all from a position where I can help him, from where I'm going to be on his back. Because if I'm ground working him from wide hands on the ground, I can't really help him when I get on him, it's going to be a different feel. This is very much like when I'm going to be on him. So now I'm going to try and do it with a little bit of feel and, oh, I'm sorry, buddy, a little bit of feel and timing. And when you first learn this, you do more of that than you do getting it over their head. But I want to be able to start to see if we can do some 360s while we're moving. Because right now, when he's thinking, he's really giving and thoughtful. And then when he fights, he doesn't think as much. So I wait. And right now he's talking to me. He's saying, pressure means fight, pressure means lean. And now he's starting to go, but I want to try something else, because you're not being very clever. He's looking at me going, you're not very smart. I've told you to go away 3 times and you don't. So I'm going to go away. I'm going to outsmart you. And I don't care if he thinks he's outsmarting me. Have at it, brother. If you think you're teaching me, I'm all about it. Well done for you. So I'm going to change the rein now. I'm going to go the other way. Do the exact same thing on the other side. Right now I'm still 50-50 on the bridle and the halter. This little fellow is quite heavy on the halter, so if they ever wanted to ride him with a halter, that needs to soften up. And he doesn't know anything about the bridle, so we're teaching for that as well. I'm going to hold here and wait. So I get to a position where I create a hold, and then I want him to find the release. And this kind of training really helps the horse when we go to tie them up, because when we do the pull and release deal, the horse never learns what a solid hold is. And a solid hold is what we're going to have when that's the. And you see that he's the same horse, he just had a different desire there. He thought about it, then he changed his mind, he thought about it again. And the big thing is that none of these answers are wrong. I'm just only going to stop when I get the answer that I'm looking for. So right now, mate, I'm saying, what's 2 plus 2? And he's going, it's 73. And I say, well, that's a really good try, but it's not really what we're after. So I ask again, what's 2 plus 2? And he's stumbling now, but he's thinking about it. And he goes, well, maybe, I don't know, is it 8? No, good try. Or is it 12? It's 4. And so we ride on again. And very much when we're working with young horses, we don't want to do it too much where we ask the same question over and over again. Right now he's still stumbling through it. He's not really sure it's 4. He's sure it's somewhere between 4 and 106. When he gets it as 4, we can't keep just asking, because he'll get to where he says 4 3 times, and then he'll start to go, I don't know, is it 8? So we don't want to overdo. And I'll wait. And I want Lucky to be aware that when he rides, he needs to wait like this also. He needs to have moments when this young horse is listening, that's when we stay busy. When he's fighting, that's when we go quiet. And we move on again. I'm going to take hold of him here. And so I'm going to go back and do the same thing. Well done, young man. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. This time I'm going to go to 100% off of the snaffle. The way I have the connector connected on here, the snaffle's not going to be able to pull through his mouth because it's connected to the holder on the other side. And what this is going to do is just give me more connection to that rein. And I've had about 15 or 20 minutes now where he's been able to get used to that bridle, and he's quite still. For a young horse that's never wore a bit, he's been quite still in the mouth. And you might say, well, why go to a bit this early? And I just say, because if I rode him in a halter for 2 weeks, he'd start to go, that's life. I get ridden in a halter, and that's what life is like. And you notice he's a lot more reactive to the snaffle than he was to the halter. But the thing is that when a horse reacts like that, and we turn that reaction into a response, it's actually a good thing. I don't like to see a horse go along and not have any response or any reaction. There has to be one or the other. I wait there, and I'm going to put a little bit of energy there and see if he'll follow that. I can come and help him. You'll notice every now and then he looks up into the mountains to see if there's any cougars coming. The mountains have changed, but his desire to keep himself safe has not. And that may last with him a lifetime, but what we'll do is we'll temper that. We'll just say to him, my dear friend, I understand that all you want to do is be safe, but know that when you give yourself to us, you will find safety. So I'm going to go off the other one as well there. So what you're telling me, Lockie, by what you're doing there is that it was better when you were standing here because he didn't walk around on you. But I want you to be up there. The fact he's walking around you out there is he can see you and you're not being a leader for him. So Mate is the kind of horse that needs a leader in his life. He needs Hope or Spin Abbey or Denny in the team, or he needs me. And I'm asking you to be one of us, Lockie, to be important to his horses. I work with, they'll allow me to do full 360 turns and keep flowing around. Well, you know what? They're not Heath. We could look at Heath if we wanted to be really picky, and we could compare him against other horses and say, why aren't you smart like them? Why aren't you learning? I'm not going to do that to you. I had that done to me as a child. My brothers would say, why can't you get it, guy? What are you, stupid? That never made me feel like I'm empowered. It never made me feel I could get it. So I'm going to say to him what I would say to me as a young boy. It's hard now. It'll get easier. I believe in you. And that's important that we do that. He's learning so much today. Just because he's not learning at another horse's level means nothing. The situation that my brothers said, what are you, stupid, was cracking a stock whip. Couldn't crack it like that. I am by far the very best whip cracker in my family. Now, because I put so much time and effort in. So it's not where we start, it's where we finish. So I'm going to pop another rein on him, and he's not really ready for this as far as going and long reining him. He doesn't have, I wouldn't take the pen down and try and long rein him around the arena, but I want him to know what two reins feels like, because Lockie rides finished horses at home in Australia, and every now and then he goes back to that human mentality of pulling on two reins, and this young horse needs to have a little understanding of that. It's not a shot at Lockie, it's just what it is. So we as humans, we like to kick to go and we like to pull to stop. When we kick a horse to go, he thinks about a predator. When we pull on him, he thinks about being caught. So we need to say to him that these aren't things that we do to hurt you. So there's a little right bend. Now I'm going to see if you can take a left one. And what we're doing is we're learning a little bit about him here. If you take these hard holds on him, and they're not hard pulls, they're just strong holds. Like there's a hold and a weight. He's probably going to jump up in the air a little bit, so you need to be a little bit more thoughtful with your hand when you're on him. And if I can get him to where he releases his feet, and the reason he's rearing is his hind feet get a little stuck. And he hasn't shown any real Mustang action yet, but the reason they can live in the wild is because they can strike and they can kick and they can do lots of different things. So I'm just aware of him. And all I want you to do, mate, is to follow that new feel. And that's okay, he's allowed to do all that, and it makes me smile because I know that it won't be here for the rest of his life. If I was worried about that being him all the time, I wouldn't be able to smile through it. If I thought I was riding him today, I wouldn't be able to smile through it. That's a joke, Lucky, I ride him. So I'm going to send him around again. I'm very aware of my watch too because I want to make sure that I don't run through other people's time. So this is the first time that he's ever felt two pressures, and I wait for him. He doesn't know that two reins in the bridle means stop. He just knows that it means pressure. Right now that looks like a give. It's not. He's just hidden underneath his bed. So we'll wait for him to come back out again. And these are times that we wait. There's a lovely little give. So now I'm going to pick up on this right rein and see if I can step his hind foot across and see if he'll give a physical back up to that. If he goes to leap or jump, I'm going to throw my left rein. When I say throw it, I'm just going to drop it and take all that pressure off. He is a super pretty little fella. What a beautiful boy. He's going to be a wonderful, wonderful ambassador for the breed. So when he gets stuck, all it is he doesn't know where his feet are, he feels pressure, and he just makes himself appear big to take the pressure away. So we just say, that's okay, my dear friend. It's quite all right that you feel like that. But that's not the way to greatness in our world, unless you're going to be a circus pony and do it on command. It's not something that we as humans like. Very nice. So I just want to see if I can do that. Now you might say I'm teaching him to do that. I'm not teaching him to do it because I'm not rewarding him, I'm not walking away. He's just trying to figure things out. And that's okay. He's really adamant about staying true to what he knows. And all that is I need to stay alive. I don't know why we're doing this, so I'm going to fight for my desire not to do it. But what I love about him yesterday, like he led me out into the arena. I had my saddle horse and he was pulling so hard that he was trying to drag my saddle horse along with the horn, and that big strong gelding just held him and sort of giggled. And then this little fella here come out today and he didn't do that. So we'll have to watch him. Will he come out tomorrow and do this? It's up to him. If it does, we just continue to work on. I've seen Lockie though, he's 18, he can sit on a lap. And if you don't feel that you can ride any of these actions, get someone else to ride them. It's not about ponying up and having to train our own horses. It's about being able to present ourselves to them. You're a bit cute, Nick, you really are. In his mind, he is just tearing the house down. But my grandma could ride that, and she's not even with us anymore. So I'm going to pick up here and hold on there, and then I'm going to ask this darling boy to move his hind foot away. Nice. I'm going to hold here again. And so he's learning to give to a physical pressure, and this is all off of the snaffle. I don't have a hold to pressure anymore. And I've trained myself over the years to smile when things like that happen. And I've actually had, just 2 weeks ago, I had someone who I used to respect sort of come and give me a bit of a mouthful. And I did the same thing to them when they were telling me off and telling me how disappointed they were with me. I just smiled through it, and it was a really valuable thing. Like I'm even smiling there because I'm not worried, Lockie, because I'm not getting on him. And all we're doing here is saying to him, mate, you're allowed to do those things. But how easy is it for you? Like, they're hard things to do. I see wonderful, wonderful performance horses from across the world that come in on the Wednesday night to do a rehearsal, and they can rear right up on their hind end, like rear right up and strike at the sky, and they look really spectacular. And then by the Saturday night performance, they're only getting their feet a foot off the ground because it's just so hard to do. So if we kept at this, he'd just realise that, you know, as long as I don't release him at the wrong moment, he'd just realise that keeping all your 4 feet on the ground is a lot better, because if there was a lot of predators coming at you here today, and you did that, mate, you're not going to outrun them. They're chewing you. So wait there, and I'll take his nose here and then head him off to the left. So what I'm going to do too now is I'm going to take my rope that I use around their neck, and I have already done this a little bit with him. And I want you to really see this, because right now off of the bridle alone, he does want to rear up quite a bit. Because he's just saying, I don't like pressure in my mouth. You're doing fine, you're doing fine. I don't like pressure in my mouth, so let's go back to an understanding. When a horse comes and bites another horse on the neck, if their timing's right, they will collect up and move their feet a little. So there I want to see if we can move his feet there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this rope and I'm going to put it around behind his hip here, which this is really good if we're ever going to do anything with roping or ever going to do anything that we need to have things behind him. A cart horse would need to be able to have pressure like this. So I'm going to start to move his body off of that neck rope there. What I'll do here is I'm going to pick up on both reins to have in between the bridle, and I'm going to pick up a hold on that neck rope. And you'll notice his desire to go up isn't as strong anymore, because horses push each other around in the body all the time. If a horse gets kicked in the mouth by another horse, they really worry about that. They run around with their mouth open, you're checking their teeth out. There. So though I'm holding the other reins, I'm not pulling on them. Here I'll take his hip here. And once again, this is all about him. He's trying to talk me out of it, and that's okay. Because I know, mate, you're going to go to the stall and you're going to go, oh, I wish I didn't do all those push-ups. Very nice. That's neat. And so I'm learning more and more about him. That if I was to put Lockie on with a neck rope, he wouldn't be jumping and leaping like this. He wouldn't have as much control, but the horse would feel like he was a little bit more in the middle. So for today, I'm not even going to address that rearing other than the way I'm doing it. And let's just see, please come back tomorrow and see what he thinks about it. I'm hoping he goes and wakes up in the morning and goes, oh, I did too many of those rears. It's really hard work. Lockie does that because at 18 in Australia, he's allowed to drink. And he goes out and he drinks. I'm not finished if that's why you're clapping. I know that sometimes you're so polite over here that you clap just so people will finish, but I'm not done. So I'll just have a look at my watch again. So with Lockie, as an 18-year-old in Australia, he's allowed to drink. So he'll tell you that when he's on the drinks, it's all about getting as many in as he can. In the morning, he wakes up and says, I'm never doing that again. And that's a little bit the same with this lovely little fella here. But he has to do that. It's about him experiencing these things. You'll notice when I take the saddle, it's the first saddle he's ever worn, but it's not the first time I've thrown something over his back. We threw Lockie over his back just a few minutes ago. So I do everything as though he's an educated horse. And I try to act as though he has an understanding of those other things, and now the only different thing is the weight of the saddle and the different feel, but it's still just learning. One thing I'm trying to teach him is the only consistent thing in life is change. Once we get that, we can go on and we can do great things. So Lockie, I need you to start switching on. When you go to take that inside rein, I need you to push the outside rein forward. I need you to stay in the middle, and I need you to always look happy no matter how you feel, because we're in front of people and that's important. And I want you to know that I'm all about looking after you, okay? But there's still going to be times where you have to stand up and be in the moment. So this will be his first saddle. I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the surcingle. I'm going to go through the bit and the halter. So I go back to that setup quite a lot. I'm going to connect off to his girth now, because this is going to be a saddle that he's carrying, not just the surcingle. So when the young girl asks me what do I do to prepare them for saddle, this is what I would do. Have a little canter for me, mate. Good boy. So he's just learning that he can continue to change. Now his back has risen up quite a bit here. That's okay, mate. You'll be very athletic like that. It'll be nice for people to watch Lockie ride it. And Lockie's going to ride him good, and I'm going to help him. And because we haven't fought with this horse when he's fought, he doesn't bring any more energy to it. This is just in case Lockie gets excitable and starts doing that with his leg. So Lockie, I want you to just start taking some deep breaths, because Lockie has even told me this in the past, that when he gets on a young horse for the first 3 or 4 seconds, he has a lot of self-doubt, and I'm sure that a lot of you have that. And he gets on there and he doesn't think about where he's sitting or what he's doing. And that is the young horse's first experience of being ridden. So when you get on these young horses, you need to feel really confident in what you're doing. And even if you're doing it wrong, pretend you're not. The horse will fit in. They're the most amazing animals in the world. There is 100 different ways to train a horse, probably 1,000 different. The ones that are successful believe in what they're doing so much that the horse has no choice but to believe in it as well. The horse doesn't care if you're lost, as long as you look like you know where you're going, they'll follow you. But if we doubt ourselves, if we question where we're going, that's when we're not going to get things done. And I love these wonderful shows that we get to go to, these incredible events. That was right where my hand's going to be when I ride him, when Lockie rides him. And so a lot of people go to all these events to learn, and they say, I want to learn as much as I can. The very best horsemen in the world don't go to events like this to learn. They work horses every day, and they ask the horses for their opinion, and then they keep working until they get these kind of results. So I haven't learned these things that I'm teaching you here at these events. I've learned them at home from wonderful horses like you. So please pick up as much as you can from us, but please be totally aware that the very best horsemanship teacher you're ever going to meet in your entire life is the horse that you have at home. He knows more about being a horse from the time he is born than we are when we are finished. So pick up the things that you like, but if you can't make them make sense to your horse, that's the most important thing. It has to make sense to them. He went to reach out to nip on me again, so I take my thumb and my forefinger, and ever so respectfully I go back inside his mouth, and I just press. I'm holding about as much as I would if I was trying to hold like a heavy ball in my hand from falling out. He goes to licking and chewing, which makes a release, and I watch his eyes. He's starting to do a slow blink in the eyes, and I'm going to just stay in there until he starts to lower his head. Right now he has his tongue all over the bit. He doesn't know that his tongue over the bit is a bad problem that scares humans like mad. He just knows that that's where he's putting his tongue. So I'm going to teach him no matter where he puts his tongue to release the pressure. There he lowered his head a little, so I take my hand out, and you'll notice how he's searching there. A good friend of mine, TJ Clibborn, told me about something they do with rescue horses, and you'll notice how he's shaped up that way. But most importantly, I'm no fun to nip anymore, because every time I do, I put my hand in his mouth. I'm not hurtful to him. I'm not. You see there, I stopped the nipping. and I got a lovely shape. Everything that we want to do with horses is about developing and shaping them up and making them better with everything that we do. Here I'm going to put a two-hand hold and wait. Oh, little man, I'm so proud. Lockie, I'm ready. In you come, bring my boy in, because I prefer to sit there when I'm watching. Now I am doing this to keep Lockie light. If I was to come in here and say, Lockie, it's been nice knowing you, mate, I wish you all the best, I'll tell you mum and dad, boy, that's not going to work. So instead I say, come on, we've got a horse to start, hurry up, get in there. So take hold of him and lead him to the middle. Good. And everything that Lockie's doing, I want to watch. Is he being a leader or is he being a follower? Is he being someone that believes in himself, or is he out there going, I'm only doing this because Guy beats me, which I don't, I promise. These are fantastic panels, and I love them, and I nearly couldn't shut them in front of you all. So, Luck, I want you to do that turn around, please, that we asked him to do with the saddle. And so this is a relationship that we've been building with this young horse, but the relationship has been between me and him, but it's also been between the rein and pressure and weight. Good. So there, when he was right on the precipice, he needed a little bit more hold. You didn't do anything. Something I keep saying to Lockie all the time is he must adapt. Horses adapt every single day. This gelding is adapting right before our eyes into a wonderful young horse. And Lockie, you are too, but I can teach 30 horses to do great things in the time I can teach one human, because we as humans spend too much time on our phone. So Lockie, well, mate, you do that, you're going to have a flat nose. So come to this side again, and I want you to step down there. You put yourself right in front of him, and you notice when he's been rearing, I've never been near his front feet. Go with him and put yourself at his saddle. Don't pull the reins, put yourself at his saddle. Lockie, let go of your right hand. He's following it. Good. Just get to the saddle and put yourself in the saddle. And stop your feet. Stop your feet. Okay, now pick up. Your feet. Lockie, these are feet. Stop them. Look at me. Stop your feet. Now listen, you're starting to make me look like a bad person and you're not listening to me, all right? If I say stop your feet, stop them. And then you might say that I'm being cruel on him, but I'm setting him up for what could be a very dangerous thing. If he doesn't listen to me, I'll get this kid hurt. So I want you to know I'm showing more care and more love for him in this moment than I ever do when I pat him on the back and tell him he's a good boy. Listen to me, good boy. Now this is important. Now step back away and ask him to give. Stop your feet. This stuff is important. This is this young horse's first ride of his life. It's a precious moment and we have to look after it. Well done, young man. Good boy. And mate, just breathe. Act like there's not thousands of people watching you. It's okay. So do it again for me. Are you serious? You thought that was good enough? Good. Hold your feet. Now pick up a little more pressure. Good boy. And Lockie's not going to have me. When he goes back home to Australia, I'm going to be at my home. Go and put that back over everything and try again. Pick up and hold and wait. Yeah, young man, good boy. Pick up and hold now. When he's giving, you can talk. When he's fighting, you must be quiet. Good. Now step back towards his hips. And I want you to feel about this, mate, that when you're on him, you can't just take hold of him, can you? Okay, drop it over the back of the saddle and bend him around. Good. Move your feet. Much better, young man. Good boy. Very good. And Lockie believes in me. I know he believes in me, but sometimes he just switches me out and he just stops listening to me. And so they're the moments that I have to get his attention. Good boy. I want another one of those. I would have accepted it, but we need another one. And this is this young horse learning about giving to pressure and his understanding of finding that release in himself. Keep talking now. When they're listening, you can keep talking, but you notice I had to, Lockie, look at me. You notice I had to really catch your attention because I was talking and you were just walking. So I had to get you stopped and I had to get you to think. And then when you started to listen, then I could ask, good boy, I want you to hop on and have a little bit of, I want a little bit enough pickup that you can just put a little check on it. Something we had to work a lot with Lockie was this little check in a straight line if you went to moving on. So this one was for him. Now I want you to get off and get one for you. So the next one, Lucky's going to get on like he's an educated horse. Lucky, they don't like you. They're clapping. They're trying to get you bucked off. Good boy. So now I want you to take your inside rein and to hover it over your inside knee for me. Inside rein, hover it over your inside knee. You got to here and you stayed there. See how I'm in a neutral position here? I'm not asking for anything. Here, get to here. When I get in here, the neutral position of this is keep moving your inside front foot. The neutral position of this is just stand still and do nothing. Do you understand that? So I need you to come out over that inside front foot. When I say 360, you go over your knee, please. Right forward. Look left, look left. Good boy. I'm really proud of you there. Lockie used to look off where the horse was going instead of look where he was wanting him to go. So 360. Better. You were in between the two there. You were a little bit off. You've got to get to that knee a little quicker. Good. 360. Good boy, lad. Well done. So now I want you to do 180. Good. To the knee. And I love that outside hand, young man. We had to work a lot on Lockie getting away from pulling on that outside rein when he wanted the horse to turn around. Riding English like he does, he always has that outside rein firm. We can't be blocking this young horse. 360. Good boy. So, do you feel, look at me. Turn around and look at me. Good boy. Did you feel there that you were halfway in between there? So Lockie was going, I really don't know where I am. Now if this is what you're asking for, if that's all you're wanting, that's okay. But because we're wanting a full turnaround, we've got to be here. We can't be somewhere in between. We can't be lost here. Because then the horse goes, if you're lost, who am I supposed to follow? Alright, so now I want you to go, do you remember which way we're going? Go back over that way. Take there, and this is great because this pony had no understanding of forward, had no understanding of giving to the rein, and if Lockie was to pull on this horse and try and stop him, he would rear. We know that, he's shown that to us. So I'm going to push your hands to him a little more, get out of his mouth, we're in the lovely pre-foot panels, and now I don't think he can jump. So I want you to canter now. I'm going to build up the pressure until it takes a stride and canter, and I want you to think canter and stay in the middle. Good boy. Good boy, lad. Keep that right hand out a little bit to the side. I don't want him turning and going back to the fence. Canter. Canter for me, lad. Now he might leap up there a little bit, but I feel really comfortable for where I'm sitting. Now I want you to widen your hands and sit quiet. So Lockie, widen them. When I ask Lockie to widen them, he's doing well, but what he's doing is he's not trusting himself, but he's not really trusting me over the knee. Look. He's not trusting me and he's not trusting himself. When I say widen, I want him to take his hands from this lovely soft position and widen them here so the horse goes, that's too much bridle and I must back up. So show me what that looks like. And be prepared, he might rear. And just wait on him. Nice, just wait. And get strong in your core, Lockie. You're not pulling, all you're doing is holding. Nice, now put your hands back together. So the young horse is learning how to find that release. He's learning how to see it for himself. Now I want you to go back out of the circle and I want you to get that slow down to stop. We nearly done. No. Thank you. So, thanks, John. Your outside rein's too tight. So I want you to ride around again. I'm going to put you up the trot and I want you to think, slow down and widen your hands and bring it back to a walk and sit. Just sit quiet. And Lockie, you're letting him do this to you. Your core's not strong. So when we widen our hands, it's no good widening our hands like this because we're not doing anything. When we widen, we get strong in our core and we widen our hands and the horse says, man, that's a lot of bridle, I better come back. So watch me here, I'm not pulling him to stop, I just widen him, he says, too much bridle, Dad, and he comes back. But don't let him swing your hands around. Horses want a strong leader. They want someone who can keep them safe. Right now, he knows you're lost, okay? And I'm supporting you and I'm helping you. You're not going to have me at home. And I don't want you going, oh, I wish I'd listened more. All right? I've only got you for a short time. Good boy. I care about you. I'm happy with you. I'm thrilled with him. But you need to think about it. Get out of his mouth. When he goes up, go with him. Right now, this horse is what we call behind the leg. He is not going forward, he's not rushing off, and Lockie's riding him a little bit like he's wanting to run off. riding like all he wants to do is stop and go forward with him. All he's wanting to do is stop, Lockie. He's a little Mustang who thinks that he's got Hollywood done in him. All he wants to do is stop. Widen your hands and sit quiet now. That's better. Now I'm going to ride forward and do it at a walk. Do it again. Good. And go forward again. Good. So he's getting his feet locked. So we're just going to see what happens with this. If it was me, I'd be doing something else because I'm starting to get scared. But you're doing good. Widen your hands and stop. Good. And these little things are fine. I mean, I had my young gelding at the World Championship. He was really leaping in the air, and I was riding him riderless and saddleless. But he didn't want to hurt anyone. He just did a little leap, and away we went. If you can't sit these little things, do something else. Do a 360 for me. Good boy. Neat. Now I want you to see if you can start to do forward with your rein. So the reason that we do this, we don't give Lockie a whip, is because Lockie gets a little busy with the whip. So I want you to work that rein back and forth over his neck, and you need to get out of his mouth another inch more. I want you to be there for him, but I don't want you in his mouth. Good. So you keep doing that. I'm going to go, and now you're going to go on. And so Lockie is basically turning up the volume on that horse until he drops off. So do it again forward. And what he's going to do is he's going to start to lay a little leg on. So I want you to come back to walk. Lockie, your hands are washy. They're washy, brother. You just let him swing you around. You're a strong young man, and this is not about strength. This is about strength in your core and your mind and in your heart. You just widen your hands and you're swimming. A little kid could do this. What we do is widen our hands and get strong. Get strong through your core, and he'll feel that. And it's not about overpowering these horses. It's about thinking and having a plan to take him off and away. I like that. I really like that, mate. And ride off and do another one for me. We need to start to get these feet to float. Another 360. I'm going to hurry him through a little bit. I want him to know that he can release his feet and he can release this tightness that he's having. Right now, his forward is going to be quite an issue. So get strong in your body and widen your hands. You didn't even have to widen your hands because before you weren't getting strong in your body. You were just doing your hands. So get strong in your body. You're not going to have to pull on him. Good boy. This fella here, he's born with the handbrake on. He's saying, I just go as far as I need to go. I don't go any further because the predators will come close and I need to have the energy to run away. Get strong in your body and sit. Much better. So it's not about the reins, it's about our seat and it's about thinking. I'm really proud of you. Turn to the right. The other right. Turn to the right. And we all do this. Every one of us does this. I work with world champions that when you tell them to pick up the right rein, they go left because they're thinking about other things. Get strong in your body and think slow down. So what happened there? You didn't get strong in your body, you just went to your hands. So go away again. So this time I want you just to make your body do what you need to do before you do your hands. Widen. Very good. Very good, mate. Well done. Excellent. So you can slip off of it, and I want you to drop your stirrup down. So Lucky's going to drop the stirrup down so I can have him. And I'll just check my watch. I think we've got another few minutes. So I'm going to slip up and have a little sit on him now. And he's getting tired, but I want to have a feel of it, because right now, he's a wonderful young man. 5 minutes? What's that? Come on, Doc. So I've only got 5 minutes, and normally you wouldn't start something in 5 minutes, but I just want to give him a little look at something, and then the boys want to pull this pen down. So take the bridle off of the gelding for me. So I'm going to hop on him from the box, and the reason I do that is I can tell you that it's all about the horse's back, and it's all about looking after him. He's a young horse and he needs it, and he deserves that. But also my hips don't bend like they used to, and I want to do this for a long time. And I was told by my doctor if I don't change the way I do things, I won't be able to ride for much longer. And I said I'll change and do whatever I need to do to ride forever. So I'm going to, thank you, I'm going to slip up here and hop on him. I've only got 5 minutes, as I say, but I just want to have a little feel of him. Because if I'm going to ride him tomorrow, I haven't had a feel of what it's like. I do have a spur on, but I'm going to treat the spur very much like I would treat this microphone on. If I turn the batteries off, it doesn't make any noise. Lucky, take that sticker, take the stool away from me. So my hand comes to here, hovers over that knee, and the gelding has an understanding. I take my hand out here and hover over that knee. You'll notice the difference between me and Lucky is 30 years of riding, but it's just that timing and feel. So I'm going to ask the beautiful gelding in a second to move off, because I want to get this young gelding to understand how to move forward and to build a little bit of drive and desire in him. Now, being a Mustang, you run with the other horses, and if you outrun the slow one, he gets eaten and you live. So he wants to catch up naturally and go with him. This is a great way to pull this young horse around. I'm not having to make him do stuff. I'm going to widen my hands, and I'm going to wait for him here. Good boy. Now you'll notice he was fighting my hand because he was chasing the gelding, but my hands weren't moving, were they? So when I pick this up, it's about creating a strong base. And it's not a strength. That's lucky. I'm really proud of you, mate. This is awesome. I'm thrilled. You have given me a real head start, and this young horse has been able to carry someone around lighter. Oh, I thought it. Well done to you both. That's awesome. So now I'm going to see if we can take this gelding here. Now that was all built on the ground also, but Lockie had to do those same things when we were on his back. I'm going to see if I can bring over my beautiful gelding and bring him with me a little bit. So people ask all the time, how soon are you able to do the things that you're known for? Well, it all depends on the individual horse, but quite quickly. I want to make sure I don't get mate kicked. I'm going to ask him forward there. I'm going to ask him to stop. And I'm going to accept that from both of them. Well done to you boys. I'm so proud of you. Fantastic. So I really want to thank you for watching and allowing us to share that with you. And I know you're all going to come up and you're all going to tell Lockie how poor and sad it is that I pick on him. I want you to know that I'm giving you stuff that I don't give to anyone else. I am asked all over the world for people to come and ride with me, and I'm doing it because I respect your family and I see a lot in you. So know that I'm giving you gifts that I don't give to anyone else. So please don't come and say that I'm picking on him, because I love him. I care about him more than all of you. Thanks very much. Thank you, John. I mean, some people say, is he your boy? He's my boy by heart. Proud of him, brother. Well done. Well done, Heath. You did good. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. We'll be over in the Celeste building in about an hour. We'd love to visit with you. Lockie'd love to sign his autograph. He can do a few people's. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Guy McLean. And stick with us. Our ring crew has their work cut out for them as we get set up next for this weekend's versatile horse and rider competition coming up right here in the U.S. Equestrian Coliseum at 1:30. Your general admission ticket is your ticket to today's competition. Be sure to come ahead and get your seat. You're going to need it. This is a very popular upcoming element in our schedule. Our versatile horse and rider competition getting underway at 1:30 right here in the Coliseum.